Hello everyone, welcome to Engineering Tunes, where me and my friend Prathamesh are trying our best to make programming easy and enjoyable so that you can transform your beautiful ideas into software.
Welcome back, guys. In the last video we have seen how to develop front end for our login app. Done. So we have developed total two forms. First is nothing but registration form and the second one is our login form, and we have written the code for sign up button. Now what we have to do, we have to write the code for this particular sign up button, that is registration forms button. And in this button what we have to do, we have to get all the data entered by user and we have to push that data onto our database. Done. For before that, first we need to create database. So let's open our workbench app and we will create our database. So we have our connection here, so we will use that connection only. And okay, this was our previous commands. Okay, so let's create our first database. So syntax is create database and then database name. Let's say our database name is login. Okay, so we will execute that and here our database is created. Now in order to use that database, we have to tell our connection that I want to use that. So use login and execute it. Done. So we are now using the login. In that we need to create a table to store all our data. So let's first check what our data is. So our data content one image, then one email ID which is varchar, one name, one email ID and one password. So all these three are nothing but varchar, and to store image we have a special data type in MySQL, that is nothing but blob. Okay, so we need to create four fields: image, name, email and password with their respective data types. Done. So what is the syntax? Yes, create table name. Let's say table name is users because we are going to store the users data. Then in bracket here first your variable name and data type. So first email and then varchar and give 255. And now let's see what particular column we can set as primary key. So name can be same for two users. Similarly, password can be same for two users and image also can be same for two users. We are not considering that, but email must be unique for each particular user. So what we are going to do, we are going to set email as our primary key. So email and then write primary key. This is our first column. Then next column, that is name, varchar 255, then password varchar 255, and last to store image. So let's say variable name is dp or column name is dp. We are because we are referring that image as dp. So image, that is dp, and then the data type, as I said, blob. So blob can only contain image in about 64 KB, but we are going to use medium blob, which can store the image up to 256 or 16 MB, I think. I don't know the exact size, but we are going to use medium blob. So medium blob. Here you can see medium blob. Similarly, the long blob is also available. You can use whatever you want. Done. So this is nothing but our table. Let's execute it. Yes, our table is created. So let's just check the description of that and let's see whether it is created correctly or not. So email varchar primary key, name varchar, password varchar and dp medium blob. Done. Now what we have to do, after user click on sign up button, we need to get all the values and then we need to push it on our respective user table. Okay, so we will write the code for sign up button now. Here first we need to create a connection string as we have discussed in our database video. So connection string will be server localhost, then database login that we have created, then UID and your respective password which you have set while installing the MySQL. Done. Then I have created the connection object and I am passing this connection string to it. Done. So my connection object is created, and similarly I am creating a command object to perform commands on MySQL, and I am passing con.create command. Done. So command and connection object are linked with each other, so we can perform command on our database now. Done. So okay, so what should be the command? Okay, so that is query. So cmd dot command text equal to, here we need to write query. Done. We need to insert value. So insert into table name, that is fix. Insert into table name, that is users, and values, and in bracket we need to pass all the values. Done. So as we have seen in the database UI video, we are going to write placeholders over here. Done. So my first placeholder will be, now this is very important, you need to pass values as you have created the columns, that you need to, okay, so you need to pass email first, then name, then password, and then DP. You need to manage that sequence properly, okay? Otherwise there will be confusion in our database. That is, if you pass name first, it will be assigned to your email column, that we don't want. So first I need to pass email, so this is my placeholder, then name, then password, and then my DP. Okay, now let's assign values to that placeholder. So cmd.parameters.add with value. Done. So first let's pass to email. Here you need to write it. So email, and what value we need to pass? Email tb.text. So email tb.text. Similarly for name and password. And now the last parameter is our image. Okay, so in our in .NET framework or in Visual Studio, or you can say in front end, we can store our image in picture box. Okay, so picture box is nothing but a special class in .NET framework, but in MySQL there is no such thing called as picture box, right? So we need a way to store our picture box image to MySQL, and the way is, first we need to convert our picture box image to byte array. That is the array of type bytes. Byte is nothing but a data type, okay, in which we can store raw bytes. So first we need to convert our picture box image to byte array, and then we can store that byte array in MySQL as our image. Okay, so to convert the image into byte array, there is a special class called as image converter. Okay, so we can write, see. So first we have created an image named array of data type byte, and then this is nothing but we are creating object converter of that special class image converter. Okay, and now you can see, so this is the syntax to convert your image into byte array. So converter dot convert to, then the image, that is dpbb is nothing but our picture box, that picture box image, and then type of byte array, and the whole thing we are converting, typecasting into byte array and storing it in our, not image data, our array name is just image. Okay, so this image will get entire image, and now we can pass this image array to our MySQL. Done. So we'll just copy paste it. Okay, so we don't need to declare that another. So our placeholder was dp, so dp, and we will pass that array which is named as image. Done. So we have done with our query, and now let's execute that query. So cmd dot execute non-query. Done. So this particular command will return a value how many rows are affected due to this query. So we will catch that value in, let's say, row affected. Okay, and if row affected equal to 1, that means one row is affected. That means our row or our user data is successfully entered in MySQL. So we will write if row affected equal to 1, and then let's display the message box that user registered successfully. Okay, if there is any problem in the our query, then this row affected will be 0, because no row will be affected, because your row is not entered in database. Done. So let's save and execute, and let's see our code is working or not. And press sign up. Okay, we got an error. This is called as runtime error, because while we are executing it, we got the error. And there is another type that is called as compilation error. So before executing, compiler will tell you the error. Okay, so read the error. Connection must be valid and open, because we forgot to open our connection. Done. We have created the connection, but we didn't open that. Now if you go to details, here you can see the line number on which this particular error has occurred. Okay, so yes, you can see it here. So this is our file name, and in registration.cs at line 60. So you can go to line 60 and you can verify that what is the error. So at line 60, yes, that means while executing the query, it occurred the error that your connection is not open. So before executing the query, we have to open our connection, that is con.open. And after executing the query, we should close our connection, con.close. Done. Now let's execute. Now let's check. So sign up, then let's select DP, and again we have to fill up all the details. And sign up. Again we got the error. Okay, don't worry, errors are the part of coding. Okay, so let's go to details and let's see at what line we have the error. So here, okay, in the first line itself, you can see they are saying parameter pass keyword must be defined. So we have a spelling mistake here. I have written PASSQORD. So we need to write password over there. So okay, so while here I have got the spelling mistake. Now I hope all the errors are removed. And yes, this is the very boring part. For each run you have to enter all the details again, but we can't do anything while developing it. Okay, and sign up. Yes, so user registered successfully. Now let's go to our database, that is Workbench software, and let's see we got that particular row or not. So select star from users and let's execute it. Yes, you can see we have a particular row, pvbarby29@gmail.com, name Prathamesh, password 1234, and DP is some image of blob type. Done. So our sign up button is successful. Okay, but now as we are doing project, you need to be very careful while writing the code. Okay, so let's see if I want to again press sign up with the same details. Okay, so I will press sign up and you will get the error saying duplicate entry pvbarby29@gmail.com for key users.primary. Done. So because we have set email as our primary key, so I am creating a duplicate entry pvbarby29@gmail.com. That's why it is giving me error. Okay, now as a developer you can know what is the error, but imagine if you have code if you are coded software like this, and when user is trying to enter his details, the user got this particular query. This is very bad. Okay, so as a developer you should handle that query and you should tell user through message box or something that what exactly error means. Okay, so see, to handle runtime queries we have a special keywords try and catch. Okay, so we will see what try catch means. So okay, so basically while executing the query itself we will write try before it. So just write try, and in this block, okay, write all the code. So what does this means? This is mean try this. If you don't get any error, no problem, but if you get any error in certain line, then simply go out of the try block, and out of the try block we will write catch block. Okay, so that means whatever the runtime error has occurred in try block, it will be catched in catch block. But to catch the error, we need to write exception ex. So the runtime error is called as exception. So what we are doing, we are just catching that error in our variable ex of type exception. And see, now we know what is the error, that is duplicate entry. So that means user is already registered. So we will see message box dot show, and we will display a message that can be understood by an end user. So we will write user is already registered. Okay, from this message user will know that this particular user is already registered. Okay, so now let's run this file and let's give pvbarby29 again. So pvbarby29 gmail.com, and let's click on sign up. Here you can see user is already registered. But again, you can see there is another problem. Though I am not filling all the values of my registration form, I can perform sign up operation. This should not happen. Okay, before signing it to your application, user must fill all the values. Now this is your homework. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to write simple if statement. If all the values has a valid data that is entered by user, then and then only execute our code written for sign up. That is, then and then only add the entry to database, else show message box to user that data is invalid, or please enter all the details. Done. This is your homework. Now we have one small thing remaining, that is to use this particular progress bar. Okay, so user will know in which state our application is. So this is very simple thing. Okay, so let's see our progress bar. Okay, what our name of progress bar? ACKPB, that means acknowledgement progress bar. Okay, so see, it has a property called as value, and we need to increase that value. Okay, so before that, whenever we are loading any form, let's set that value to 0. So ack.value equal to 0. So while loading the form, the value will be 0, and while sign up. Okay, so the value range is ranging from 0 to 100. So after some particular instruction, you need to increase that value by some particular amount. So let's see. So there is no such a predefined format. Okay, so after any instruction you can write equal to, let's say, 20. Then let's say after creating the command, we will say 40. Then after this, let's say 60. After creating our image array, let's say 80. Okay, and yes, after executing the query, we will set it to, sorry, not 1000, 100. Okay, so you can adjust all these values according to you. Done. So now if I execute sign up, and let's say pvb@gmail.com and sign up. Okay, so you can see it is working, right? And user is registered successfully. But we need to notify that user that you have registered successfully on our application. How we can do it? Simply by sending that email. Here I just included try catch. Okay, so basically try and then I will try to send the error if that email is invalid. That means it does not contain any address or any domain name. Okay, then it will throw the exception that will be catched by catch block, and then we will say invalid email ID or check internet connection, and then we will return false. Otherwise, if email has been sent successfully, then we will return true. And in our sign up button code, okay, before executing the query, we will say if send email, and then we will pass email tb.text, that is one recipient email address, and some subject and some body. Okay, and then if this is true, then we will execute our code to enter the row into database. So let's check. Okay, sign up, and now if I given any invalid email ID and press on sign up, invalid email ID or check the internet connection. Done. So we have seen all the details of this particular registration form. Now your homework is to add various checkpoints or to add various verifications before executing that query. That means this image should not be null, then all the details should be entered by user, then this password and this re-enter password must be same, or you can add one particular addition to that also, that password must contain capital letters or symbol and numbers, or password length should be greater than 8. All that you can do it by yourself. I am not going to specify all these things, or I am not going to show the code it for you. This is your task. Now we will focus on the login page. Okay, so here on login page, now we are going to write the code for sign in button. Done. In sign in button, let's discuss what code we need to write. Okay, so user will provide email and password to us, and now in sign in button we need to check if this particular email is there in our database or not. That means if that is there in our database, that means user has already registered. If it is not in our database, that means the user is not registered. Not only we need to check email, we need to check the password also. If that email has same password as given by user, then we will notify user that login is successful. Done. So let's check it. Okay, so let's go to form 1 and sign. Here first we need to copy paste the code to connection. So basically this particular code will be same. Okay, so we have, okay, and here we need to include header files also. Okay, again I need one thing I forgot. Before writing any code to database, you must add the references also. I have included it before showing it. That's why it did not given me error, but it will give you error if you haven't added the references. So you just go to Solution Explorer, right click on your project, add, and then reference, and search for MySQL, and you need to tick on these 2 text boxes. Done, so that you can use all the APIs for MySQL. Okay, and yes, this is done. Now let's write the query. So cmd.command text equal to, okay, what query we need to write? We need to check whether user is registered or not. Done. So we will write select email, or you can write select star also, no problem. So select email from users where email equal to email given by user. We will set up the placeholder over here, and password equal to password given by user. Done. If both the things are correct, then we will notify the user that login is successful. And before that we need to give values for the placeholders. So add with value, first placeholder is email, and email tb dot text, similarly for password. Done. So we will see, try, and then first we will open it, the connection, then we will execute the query. Yes, so what, cmd dot execute non-query, then we will close the connection, and then we will write if the query is successful, then the user is the login is successful, otherwise invalid credentials. Done. So there is one small thing over here. Let's write a catch over here, exception ex. We will see later what code should be there in catch block. Okay, so basically what we are doing, we are selecting email from our database where email is given by user, the email is same as given by user, and password is same as given by user. So basically, let's go to database. If user has entered Prathamesh and 1234, then and then only this query will return true. Okay, but what we are doing, we are using execute non-query method. What execute non-query method does, it returns the affected row. That means the row value that has changed, or the row that has added to database, or row which has deleted from database, but we are not doing anything from it. We are just selecting it from it. So we can't use execute non-query. Okay, and I have given you the answer also, that when to use execute non-query, while inserting, or while updating, or while deleting. Done. While selecting any data from user, you need to write execute reader. That also we have seen in our database UI video. So execute reader will read, what it will read, select email. So it will read email from database where email is same as given by user and password is same as given by the user. So if I am passing pvbarve29@gmail.com and 1234, it will read pvbarve29@gmail.com and it will return to me this particular value. And now if that is so we need to cache that particular value in reader object. We have seen in the database GUI video. So MySQL data reader equal to cmd.execute. Now reader has one value, that is pvbarve29@gmail.com. So we can write if reader dot has rows, that means our login is successful. So we can write message box dot show, and we can write login is successful. else. Okay, invalid credentials. That means the reader doesn't get any email address that that satisfy all the conditions. Okay, so invalid credentials. Done. And now we will close it. And you can see we don't have any code to write in catch block, so we will leave it as it is. Done. So let's see whether our code is working or not. Done. So let's check first with the false values. So I will give anything email and anything password and press sign in. Invalid credentials. Done. And if I give the correct values, and if I press sign in now, okay, it is taking some time. Okay, login is successful. Done. So we have written the code for it. Now it's your task to write the code for this particular acknowledgement bar that we have already set. Done. But I want to tell you here one little modification that we haven't seen in the database video. Okay, so we will just go to it. Okay, I will tell you first what is the problem over here. What we want to check, if there is a row. Okay, what we want to check exactly, if there is a row with the email address and password given by user. Done. And what we are doing actually, we are selecting that particular row. We don't want to select that row. We just need to check if there is a row. So the query should be returns count. Okay, so basically there is a query which returns count rather than particular data. So basically, if I write select count email from users, okay, and let's check what it gives me as an output. So you can see count 2. That means there are 2 rows in my table right now. And if I write where email equal to, let's say pvbarve29@gmail.com, you can see it is returning me the value 1. So whenever you want to check if there is a particular row, then you should write the count keyword over there. So our query will be select count email, or you can write select count star also from users where all this. And now to execute the query which has count, average, sum, or there are some 4 to 5 keywords like count which returns a scalar value. That means a particular value, you need to write cmd.execute scalar because it is returning the scalar value, and now you can catch that value in integer type of variable, so in truths. But before that you need to convert it into int. Done. And now you can write if rows equal to 1. Okay, so now what we are doing, we are just returning the count of rows that are selected instead of returning the data itself. Done. So this is the difference between returning data and returning particular scalar value. So this should be your final code of the sign in button. Done. You need to do the code for this particular progress bar. Now the last thing remaining is forget password. Okay, so while developing the front end also, I have told you this is your homework to develop the front end for forget password, and in backend also this is your homework to write down the code for forget password. Okay, so forget password is your homework, but what I will do, I will show you my WhatsApp forget password and we will analyze that what code should be written for it. Done. So I will just open it. Yes, so here I have registered my email ID. So pvbarve. Okay, before that, if the email is not provided by user and if user is clicking on forget password, there should be error, please enter the email address. Okay, that thing you need to do. And let's pvbarve29@gmail.com. Done. And now if I press on forget password, you can see the progress bar is showing and then the message has been sent, that is OTP has been sent to your email ID. So after clicking on forget password label, you should generate the OTP. We have seen it already. Then you should send that OTP to email address. That code also we have seen. Done. And now after clicking on OK, the new form will open. Done. Here enter your OTP. So let me check what is the OTP. So OTP is 7690. Okay. Now see, the OTP has been generated in login form. Okay, and now we are in forget password form, which don't have any OTP that has been generated by login form. So you have to pass the OTP from login form to the forget password form through constructor that we have already seen. And now in login form, if I write the correct OTP and if I press the validate, then these things are visible for me. If I have written the incorrect OTP, then message box should be appear that invalid OTP. And now I will write the password and re-enter password, whatever it be, and then user will click on the update password. Now, what code should be written for update password? Okay, so we have provided the email address, that is pvbarve29 in login form. That means I need to update the password for that particular email address. But we are in forget password, which don't have that email address. So along with OTP, the email address also should be sent to this particular form through constructor. And now we can write the query that update password where email address equal to that particular email address. Done. And after executing the update password, that query will execute and the password will be changed. Okay, so this is your homework that you need to write for our login application. And we are done with our login application. Okay, so we have created a successful professional looking software which has the efficient code. Okay, so congratulate yourself for developing this software, because this has been a very long video for front end also and back end also. And now when you show such type of application to your academic project or to your interviewer, definitely the other person will be impressed, because you have taken care of small details in front end and in back end also. So this is a professional software that you have developed, and now you can use this login application in many such projects like WhatsApp, Amazon, Instagram, YouTube, whatever the project, you can use this particular login application with respective themes. Generally, I have seen students develop very layman and naive applications which has very layman design, and the code is also not efficient. And because of that, they don't have so many things to explain to the examiner or to interviewer. But when you develop application like this, now you have tons of things to explain in the design part also and in the coding part, that is backend part also. Okay, so this will boost up your confidence like anything, because now you can stretch your presentation up to half an hour also for this login application module only. Okay, and if your project has anything about that like WhatsApp and Amazon, then don't worry about any marks or any interview. Okay, so congratulate yourself, because you are now eligible and ready to develop applications like Amazon, WhatsApp, Instagram and etc. Okay, so see you there.
So thanks for joining Engineering Tunes, where engineering is made easy. But if you are having any doubts, you can use our discussion section where others can also reply and see your doubts. But if you want to contact us, you can contact on letstalk@engtunes.com.